Get Everton FC updates directly to your inbox. Plus subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Could not subscribe? Try again later. Invalid email. With 2 weeks left until the end of the transfer window, things are hotting up at Everton. The $20 million signing of Theo Walcott should be completed on Wednesday. The Arsenal forward hopefully bringing pace and goals to a squad in need of both. With Cenk Tosun already on board, and a left-back high on Sam Allardyce's wish list, the Blues are likely to be one of the Premier League's busiest sides this month. Rightly so, many will say, but who are the key figures behind the club's recruitment of new players? Here is a look at those who will play, or have already played, a key role during the transfer window. Steve Walsh. An obvious place to start. As Everton's first-ever director of football, Walsh is responsible for coordinating their scouting of potential transfer targets. Having enjoyed huge success with Leicester City, where his best deals included Riyad Mahrez and N'Golo Kante, among others, Walsh arrived to huge fanfare in the summer of 2016. Seen as the man to revamp the club's scouting network, as under the previous regime with Ronald Koeman, he and Allardyce must agree on any target before a deal is pursued. With Walsh and his team of scouts responsible for compiling detailed reports and background checks on possible signings, Walsh's job is to gather information from numerous sources to lessen the risk in any deal. It's a bit like a marriage in some ways. Walsh told Everton's general meeting earlier this month, "The system we've got at the club is both the director of football and the manager have to sign that player off, so for that progress to be made, a compromise has to be made, and it's a case of maybe the manager taking the lead or the director of football taking the lead, and who is most passionate about getting that signing over the line. It's about bringing that together. But ultimately, if one of us says completely no, then that's got to be a no." Walsh hasn't generally taken the lead in transfer negotiations, but did so in the case of Cenk Tosun, flying to Turkey in order to help push that deal through earlier this month. Martin Glover, Walsh's chief scout. Glover worked alongside him at Sunderland and has also enjoyed spells at Blackburn Rovers, West Ham and Leeds. An Allardyce favourite, he was a trusted lieutenant of his at Sunderland, West Ham and Blackburn, where he was the head of youth recruitment. Video loading. Video unavailable. Click to play. Tap to play. The video will start in 8. Cancel play now. A former PE teacher, Glover oversees a growing network of technical and traditional scouts. He attends games, compiles and oversees reports, and collates information from other sources to create informed opinions on players. Alongside him is Lawrence Stewart, the club's senior recruitment coordinator. While the club employ other scouts to focus on specific areas, Dave Worthington, for example, is their main man in Spain, and is another Walsh stalwart from their Leicester days. Sam Allardyce, a central figure. Of course, Allardyce already had friends in key positions upon being appointed in November. Walsh and Glover have a long history. Seen as an old-school manager in many ways, Allardyce is in fact one of the most open-minded when it comes to statistical scouting and data analysis. As Walsh said, all deals must have his seal of approval before they can be finalized. Tosun got that, and Walcott has it too. Next up, surely, is a left-sided defender. On Walsh, he has said, "Our relationship is very good, and has always been excellent. We go back years when he was a scout at Chelsea. I knew him first throughout his brother. Mick Walsh and I were close." Image. Stu Forster. Getty Images. "We had many conversations together, and when I moved to Newcastle, I needed somebody who would coordinate the whole of that department. I think that has been ongoing in his world ever since, with Nigel Pearson at Hull and Leicester, and now here." We have to find the player who is going to be good enough to make Everton better, and that is the hardest job in football we have today. Believe you me." Quote, Allardyce's role is an obvious one. Identifying areas in need of improvement, discussing those who could come in and make a difference, and making decisions on those he deems not good enough. Bill Kenwright and Farhad Mashri. Of course no deal gets done without someone to pay for it, and someone to negotiate it. Mashri is the man who does the former. His backing of both Allardyce and before that Ronald Koeman cannot be questioned. Mashri was the man, of course, who opted for Allardyce after a long search for Koeman's successor. Kenwright, traditionally, has been the chief negotiator of deals, the man who finalizes talks with club chairmen, agents and players over fees, salary, bonuses and agents' cuts. Image, Jan Kruger, Getty Images. Walsh took charge of the Tosun deal, but Kenwright has handled the transfer of Walcott. His ability to foster strong, respectful relationships with English clubs and agents one of his strong suits, as he is his ability to drive a hard bargain. The 16 meters fee negotiated with Chelsea for the sale of Ross Barkley effectively worked out at 1 metre for every week the midfielder had remaining on his Everton contract. Dave Harrison. You'll know him as the man who sits next to new signings as they pen their Everton contracts, the smiling figure with pen in hand. Harrison's role as club secretary is wide-ranging, from reconnaissance missions ahead of potential pre-season trips to dealing with the reams of paperwork which accompany Premier League clubs. He also plays a key role in the signing of players. Image, Everton FC via Getty Images. He jets to wherever the player is being signed from and helps oil the wheels of each deal, liaising with his opposite number and making sure every aspect of the transfer is covered, such as work permits and player registration. Known as a real people's person, Harrison's diplomatic skills and quiet competence make him a well-liked figure in football and position the Toffees well in the market.